Hey, what is going on, everybody? How's it going? This is going to be fun, sharing photos. So, I love this new feature. I haven't used it yet, but maybe next week we'll use it. Sharing photos. So, what is going on? Come on in. I absolutely love when you guys join me. My name is Joy. I go by Joy Stays Free on all platforms. I'm super excited because we're going to talk a little bit about, a lot about laughter and joy and just the fun things that are necessary for our freedom, right? So, come on in, share this with a few people. This is going to be a little different because typically we're pretty serious here at Joy Stays Free, and we kind of talk freely about different things that help us get free from different things, how you can stay free. A lot of us have gotten free from a lot of different things, but now we can stay free. And so I'm super excited that you all are here. So tonight we're going to talk about something that's pretty fun, laughter. Okay, so we've been on this series talking about how love matters. We talked about that the first week. The second week we talked about what's going on, everybody that's coming on in. Welcome. I'm super excited for y'all to be here. Tonight we're going to talk about laughter, and this is going to be pretty fun. So go ahead and share this with a few people and have them come on in because you definitely don't want to miss this. I've been tying in these different topics that I was given and just thinking about these different topics that help us stay free. So here we always talk free. We talk real about different things that can keep us free from all the craziness that happens in our life. And so whatever you're going through today, I just want to encourage you to find these tools in the arsenal. Get the weapons together because all the weapons that we share here are for you to learn how to stay free from things that keep you stuck, that keep you bound, that keep you in all the craziness that goes on, right? So the first week we talked about love. We talked about how love is so freeing for us, how people find love, how they enjoy love, what it's like to love others, what it's like for us to experience love from God, and for you to just kind of find that love within yourself and a lot of self-love. We talked about that. We're going to, next week, we're going to talk about legacy, which is going to be kind of fun. But the other one was, I'm forgetting the L's. We said love. What was the last one, guys? Put it in the chat. I almost forgot. Laughter and legacy. And life. Oh, the funness, like all the funness that comes with life, and how we need to enjoy life and pull all of the different tools that we need so that we can thoroughly enjoy life. So I'm super happy for y'all to be here. So tonight, let's talk about laughter, and let's talk about how all these tools, especially with it being Black History Month, we got to tie in Black comedy. Like seriously, how many of you know a comedian or someone that's super funny who is African American, or even I know Trevor Noah, he's South African, like he's half Black, half white. And so I just feel like when it comes to comedy, there's some history to be learned here and different things that we learn from each other. So when I talk about Black history, I'm super proud of my culture, but I'm also encouraged to talk through, how we can learn from each other. And that's why we should celebrate one another. And that's something that I wanted to stress this month, is that not just that we celebrate Black history, but what can other cultures learn from African Americans? What can we learn from each other? So, when there's a different month where we're celebrating other people, we need to learn how to, learn from them, learn from their experiences. And there's a lot to be learned from an African American experience, because comedy is a way that African Americans have gotten through the trash of life that they have gone through. Jokes, being funny, making fun of ourselves, making fun of the things that we've gone through. Like, sometimes we just had to do it, being made and forced to make other people laugh at an expense of our own. And then on top of that, being like, well, you know what? I guess I'm going to make money from it. There's a really dope documentary on Netflix that you all can watch. I think it's called Why We Laugh. I think it's still on there. But there are different comedians talking about, why the African American experience in comedy is really important. And in the past 100 years, how Black comedy has affected comedy, the entertainment system as a whole, and then also how comedy has impacted our lives just as African Americans, just to get through. Like, sometimes you just need to laugh. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of laughter, and why it benefits us, why it's important for you to find laughter. So just as you're thinking through, did you laugh today? Like, let's talk. Did you laugh? Like, put it in the chat. Did you laugh today? I mean, like, for real. Like, did you really laugh today? Like, was something really funny? And sometimes whenever we're just really in the monotony of life and we're super busy with everything, we really forget to laugh. Some of us might have a chuckle here and there, or someone makes us laugh and it kind of breaks us out of our shell. But did you laugh today? Did you remember to laugh today? Is it something that's on your constant agenda? Yes, Moody Mosh Pit. Yes. Did you laugh? Put it in the chat, right? And so if you have today, we're gonna put typically we put swords in the chat for those of you who have been here to stay free, because we have weapons in our arsenal. But put some crying, laughing faces tonight, okay? So if you laugh tonight, or if you have funny things to say, or you're feeling what I'm saying, put some smiley, happy, laughy faces in there, all right? So just to kind of tie that in, what can be learned from the African American experience by, watching how Black comedy has grown in the past 100 years. So just a little bit of background basically kind of African Americans weren't allowed to entertain. So let's just start there. And for the history of blackface, a few years ago, this was like a huge deal where college students and people were actually getting their college pictures pulled up from Halloween parties and all kinds of stuff, where basically white Americans were putting on blackface and thinking that it was funny and thinking that this was like something haha like in the 20th century that we could totally do. And it was like, let's talk about the reason why that's not okay. So with a little quick Black history lesson, blackface is basically a way where white or Caucasian Americans would put on black makeup and larger lips and accentuate African or African American features to make each other laugh. Like, not even for Black people. Like, this is not being put on for Black people. So it's like, oh, hey, look at us, like making fun of you. Like, it's more so let's make this a part of our lives, and this is funny to us because at the time it's okay. Some people don't know why I'm really not okay with Dr. Seuss. That's a whole nother thing. But if you want to look up Dr. Seuss, definitely look up why The Cat in the Hat is not okay. It's actually based on a minstrel show, and so there's all kinds of research about Dr. Seuss. It probably will shatter everybody's childhood, but hey, just not okay. When it's not okay, it's not okay, right? So just basically knowing that coming from the minstrel space to from blackface to minstrels, which would be, them Blacks being allowed to entertain and being allowed to, be in front of audiences of people who basically were paid little to nothing or had to do it for free in order to make people laugh for other people's entertainment, right? And so then you move on to not being able to act in certain places and not being able to express yourself and not being able to have comedy, where we would just kind of laugh among ourselves and have our own comedy shows and things to us that were funny. Like, it just kind of evolved that way. There's so much history there, just like with any other system, like singing, entertainment, anybody, it's so much there. So why is that important for the human race, right? And why is that important for people of all kinds of cultures? It's important because you can learn from a culture to find out how did they cope through the darkest times of their lives. Why were people laughing? They weren't allowed to have freedom. They weren't allowed to go where they wanted, to marry who they wanted. When we talked about love a few weeks back, you weren't allowed to, build the life that you wanted, being treated unfairly, didn't have laws in your favor. Why are y'all laughing? Like, what is so funny? And so it's kind of like, there's something to be learned there. I feel like there's a treasure there to find out, how do people laugh in the midst of their pain? How is that possible? Why do we do it? Why is it important? And let's kind of talk through that today. So if y'all have comments and stuff, go ahead and put it in the chat. And then as we wrap up, we'll definitely do some Q&A. And I'm open to anything when we do Q&A. So tonight we're talking about why laughter matters to stay free from the things that keep our minds and our hearts bound, right? So welcome to everybody that's coming on in. Tonight we're putting smiley faces in the chat if you're feeling what I'm saying. So just learning that's the first thing I feel like we should kind of pull from that, is knowing that you can laugh in your pain. You can laugh in the midst of the things that keep your mind all stressed out. When we have anxiety, when we're feeling all, burnt out from the day, no matter what we're going through, we could be going through some really hellish times in our life, but there has to be a space, there has to be time where you love to know to say, laugh no matter what. I'm going to make light of this, or I'm going to make it a joke, something about it. There's a time and a season for everything. And I'm a person of faith, so like the Bible tells me like that it's important to look there, and there's a time and a season for everything. The book of Ecclesiastes talks about that. The wisest man who's ever lived on planet Earth, which was King Solomon, said that there's a time and a season for everything. There's a time to plant, there's a time to harvest, there's a time to laugh, and there's a time to cry. And so in the midst of that, like, sometimes people are laughing when things are not supposed to be funny, but then sometimes when it's not that funny, we need to laugh. Sometimes we need to just take a step back and stop taking ourselves so seriously and say, you know what, I think it is important for me to laugh and to have a good time and to find joy and to find some serious, it's kind of a double entendre, but to say some serious joy in the midst of tragedy and something that's difficult that's going on in my life. So in your darkest season, in a time, and you may be in that season right now, did you find time to laugh? Did you find things that brought you happiness? Did you find something that was going to spark laughter? So here's just a few benefits of laughter. Why is it important? There are so many studies that are done about laughter, and really there are no negative side effects. Like none. There are no negative side effects to laughter. There are only things that could possibly happen if you have like pre-existing conditions or something that's pretty embarrassing. Like I saw one article was like, oh, incontinence, like, oh, you laugh and you peed a little, haha. Like that's a thing, like for women who, you know, have postpartum like laughter and stuff like that. Like they laugh and then they might pee a little bit. Like, okay. Or headaches, they said if you can get a hernia, stuff like that. Like little stuff that's like a side effect for like side splitting laughter. But I mean, kind of for the benefits is worth it. I looked up a few different things about laughter, and it actually can boost your immune system. It can help you burn up to 2,000 calories. Like I was like, oh snap, we can laugh a little bit more to stay fit. Like, so there's all kinds of benefits, and you can totally look up more benefits. But knowing laughter is like a medicine. So Psalm 22, I believe, says that laughter is good like a medicine. It does your body good, and a broken spirit basically is toxic to your bones, right? And so laughter is good like a medicine. Like you need to laugh, and laughter it boosts your endorphins, it triggers like adrenaline and all the serotonin, the feel good feeling. So that feeling when you're happy and you're feeling good, you know, your body, we talk about this a lot, your body actually, it's super intelligent, but it doesn't have a consciousness. Right? Your mind has a consciousness, and you tell your body what to do. So your body, right, doesn't know the difference between fake and real laughter. Like it's not like, oh, excuse me, let's stop laughing now. That's fake. We're not going to give her any benefits. No serotonin has been released. Block. Like that's not it. It is actually a benefit. So it is actually good if you're not doing okay and you go, like your body doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know. How will they know? They won't know. Like, it's the truth. So, I come from a family that is super hilarious, and hopefully you all have hilarious inside jokes with your families and your friends, but I'm like the inside joke queen. Like, we have so many jokes. We laugh about so many things. We laugh about movies. We really laugh about pretty much everything. And my sister just came in, so she can attest that we are goofballs. Like, we laugh all kinds of inspirations. Like says, laughter healing. It stimulates your brain and actually changes your thought. Yes. And if you have more elaboration, definitely put that in the chat. I would love that. And so it really does. It stimulates you. And so in the midst of the dark things that we go through, we know that we've had a crazy past year, right? Even in the past few months, we have been kind of losing a little bit, like, and you know, that kind of crazy laughter that comes along with like, I'm losing it here. Like, I can't do anything but laugh about it because I'm actually kind of losing it. Cabin fever, like you got to kind of laugh to keep from crying. And that phrase, I kind of want to harp on a little bit because sometimes it is definitely good for us to cry, but when you've cried for so long, you just need to laugh. Like when you have been in a space where you cry, and you really are pretty much crying out, you have so much anxiety, just start laughing. Like laugh. And you're like, oh my gosh, am I doing this by myself right now? My husband or my wife or whoever thinks I look crazy. My kids think I look crazy. So what? Your body doesn't know the difference. So what? It's self-care to laugh. It's self-care to enjoy life. It's self-care for you to care so much about yourself that you're like, screw it, I'm just going to laugh. Like, I'm going to do it anyway. And so sometimes it's necessary to laugh about the things that really make you cry. Like, it is necessary. And so for those of you who don't know a little bit about my story, I'm recently divorced, came out of a marriage that was extremely toxic. Pretty much midway through, things took a huge left turn, and my husband got really, really mentally ill in a sense. And so he wasn't taking care of himself, wasn't really, taking care of his mental health, and refused to get the help that was necessary. So we ended up in a very toxic place, right? And one could say that there were some toxic things that were happening prior to that, but there were still some things that we kind of worked through in the midst of the beginning, right? But it was really dark toward the last 5 years. I was married for 9 years. We were together for 12. And so that latter part of my marriage was a really dark season because my ex was suicidal. He went to a very dark place where, I was doing crisis intervention in the place that I worked, and then I would come home and do crisis intervention. And then there were all these different things wrapped up in culture and childhood trauma where, the plan in order to, and I feel like this is going to free somebody, so I feel like I'm going to say it. His plan as an African American man, when you are trained in suicide prevention and kind of walking through some things, and these may be a few trigger words, so I'm just going to put that out there. I am going to talk a little bit about suicide for a second. So if it's a trigger for you, just kind of turn me off and then come back on. Or fast forward if you're watching the replay. But just to part of the thing when you walk people through that with mental health or suicide prevention, you ask that person, are you thinking about killing yourself? And you have to use those specific words. And then if you say, okay, if the answer is yes, you ask, do you have a plan? How did you envision doing that? What is that going to look like for you? And so his plan was death by cop. And so that is for an African American woman as a wife, as we're talking through Black History stuff. People say, well, Joy, how come you didn't call the cops? Well, because that was one of his plans, death by cop. I'm not going to call the cops because that was part of the plan. And so when we think through that, when we kind of talk through that, that for me was a dark place. And it was like things that were going on, when we were, I guess there was a lot going on, even at the time with the country, with things going on with Black Lives Matter and Black men losing their lives at the hands of cops. My husband in his mind thought and knew that was a way that he could go. And it was a realistic plan. So for people like me, that kind of stuff is not to be taken lightly. That is serious. This is something that's happening and we have to talk through that. So in such a dark place in my life and having to be with someone and love someone through that as much as I possibly could, I did lose a lot of myself in that season, and it was difficult to laugh. And sometimes in those dark seasons, all we had was laughter because we had a good friendship. I mean, we co-parent very well now. He's doing a lot better now. But in those darker seasons, sometimes all we had was laughter. Sometimes all we had was comedy and making jokes and, could joke. And then sometimes laughter was just so bad for us that it was like all the real toxic stuff was not getting handled because we laughed so much. So it was like almost a drug in and of itself. And so as we talk through, laughter being a really good way for us to get through, it definitely helped in my relationship, but it definitely helped just as a person. Laughter definitely helped us get through certain dark seasons. But to be honest, there was a point where I had to go back to that. There's a time and a place for everything, and there's a time and a season for everything. So let's pull back for a second and stop making so many jokes, not laughing, but we're not going to keep making jokes and thinking that everything is okay, because right now it's making us think that we're okay right now, and we're not. Or we're making us think that, this is not a toxic relationship, and it is, just because we can laugh together. And sometimes friendships and family relationships, sometimes you can laugh so much with somebody, but they're super toxic for you. They're literally laughing and pouring poison down your throat. It's literally the same thing. And so you have to just kind of know where those boundaries lie. And if you haven't watched my live boundaries, definitely go back and watch that. It was a few weeks back. And so just knowing that in those dark spaces, there is a time and a place for everything. And knowing that laughter can help you get through dark seasons, and it can also help you cope with a dark season, right? So for me, if it weren't for knowing that I had jokes or had the ability to just find some sort of enjoyment on my own, I may not have been able to get through that season. That was one of the tools I utilized to really get through that season. And even when there was a time when I had to back up and say, okay, it's time to be serious now, sometimes it was really difficult to do that. And for those of you who are maybe coming out of those relationships or are in a toxic relationship, beware of how jokes and laughter will bait you back in to a toxic relationship and crossing certain boundaries, because laughter will make you think, it boosts that serotonin, it will make you think that everything is cool when it's not. Okay, so that's just a sidebar tidbit for anybody who needed that. So if you're feeling this, go ahead and put some laughter emojis down at the bottom. So here's some extra little tidbits and tools. So we know that it's good for our body. We know that it's good for relieving stress. It really is good to even laugh at yourself. We got to stop taking ourselves so seriously. And I'm the person that needs to remind myself, Joy, stop taking yourself so seriously. It's not that deep. Because I can kind of be a perfectionist. I can kind of be the person that's like, okay, I have to do it this way. It has to look this way. It has to be that way. But you got to laugh at yourself. Sometimes you're by yourself and you just laugh. Especially with us working from home and different things like that, sometimes you just have to laugh at yourself. You made a mistake, just laugh at it. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. Don't bully yourself, Laugh. It's not that deep. And sometimes we take ourselves way too seriously. Sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, we beat ourselves up so much that we forget to just laugh. Sis, it was a mistake. Like, calm down. Like, girl, go. Like, calm down. So sometimes I have to do that for myself, and it will lighten the mood. Sometimes you just need to scroll through funny things. I actually teach my algorithm. I hope Instagram is listening to this. That's why I see funny things on my feed, because I teach my algorithm. I look up funny things on purpose so that I can laugh. When I need like laugh and relief, I teach my algorithm. I teach my Instagram algorithm. I'm like, if it's not funny, I don't want to see it. Church jokes are the funniest to me. I absolutely love those pages. Like Kevin on Stage, Church of Laugh. Like I love all that stuff. Like funny Christian memes. If you ever want to make me laugh, definitely send me a Christian meme. I got one today and I was crying. Someone gave me a meme from TikTok and I was literally crying. I was like, that's what it is. So you have to laugh. You have to. Please, if you are in a relationship, please make time to laugh with each other. Please make some time to do something fun. Have children, please do not be serious with your kids all the time, talking about, oh, do this, do that. Make time to be funny. Make time to have jokes. Teach your kids how to have a sense of humor and calm the heck down. Why do you think these kids walk around with all this anxiety? The world is trouble in and of itself. Let your kids laugh. Like, laugh with each other. If you're in a relationship with each other, make each other laugh. Like, it's okay. Play pie in the face, or I don't know, heads up. Like, play a game. Cool it. We need it, y'all. We need it. Life is already tough enough. We adult enough. Don't y'all think we adult enough? If we adult enough, please put happy faces in the chat. We adult enough. Bills come in. We got to budget. We got to invest. We got to leave a legacy. We got to be all responsible. Like, we get it. Okay, everybody knows we got to do that. Can we please have a little bit of fun? Like, not as of others, but let's have a little fun. And enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your life. That goes back to our point about enjoying life last week. Enjoy your life. Make funny faces. Be silly once in a while. Stop taking yourself so seriously. Nobody cares that much anyway. Like, we just don't. Like, to be honest, we gotta laugh. We gotta laugh. Just get out of your comfort zone. Because sometimes in the midst of an anxious place, or when you're feeling depressed, or you're feeling like you can't make it through, sometimes you just need to take a step out of that, get out of your own headspace, right? And the best thing to do is not to listen to things that will cause you to feel more depressed, because I know that was something that really was not helpful. Like in a really depressive season, like I would just like listen to music that was like super down. Like, you know, when you're feeling really, really sad, like people talk about, oh, they want to listen to breakup songs, stuff like that. I'm like, no, can somebody please put on some stand up, because I can't. Like, you can't do it. All it's going to do is increase those emotions in your life. They're going to continue to play over and over in your head. They're going to release those chemicals that make you feel down. So when you're going through a bad breakup or you're going through a hard time, don't reinforce the bad feelings. Like, again, your brain does not know what the heck is going on. All it knows is that it's releasing chemicals. Feelings are chemicals here, right? We talk about this all the time here. Feelings are chemicals. If you know how to stop those chemicals and rearrange those things and kind of release the chemicals that make you feel better, then we can begin to move toward healing. We can begin to stay free. These are tools in your arsenal. You got to utilize these things to stay free. Use them because they're necessary for you to stay free from the things that keep you stuck. When you're in your own head and you don't know how to make a decision, take a laugh break. Take a step back, laugh, make yourself feel a little bit better, release some stress, and cool it. When you feel like you're taking yourself too seriously, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much pressure. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Take a deep breath. Go laugh. Somebody said something out of pocket. Somebody said something crazy. Like, laugh. It's not that deep. Because honestly, you're staying free. You're going to forgive them anyway, right? Right? You're going to forgive them anyway. Their opinion doesn't matter anyway. And even if you feel like it did, really the only opinion that matters is yours and God. People get to you where you can't feel what they said. Like, there's so many different things about like laugh. The scripture is like that a woman laughs because she is prepared. No need to be afraid, because you can laugh at the future if you know that you've been doing the necessary things that you need to do to keep yourself healthy, to keep yourself whole, to keep yourself free, to stay free. If you're doing the self-care and you're doing the work, and I don't mean that in a striving way, like, oh my gosh, I have to do the work. Here we go, taking ourselves too seriously. It's not that deep. Just do your best every single day. Wake up every day wanting to be a better person. Wake up every day knowing that God's got your back. Like, this is not going to be forever. I'm gonna get through this. Going back to those different tools, those other tools, how they all work in tandem together. I have a life to live. I have a purpose. I gotta move. I'm gonna get out of bed today. That is gonna happen. I'm gonna shower. I'm gonna make myself look good. I'm gonna make myself something to eat. I'm gonna eat healthy. I'm gonna exercise. I'm gonna move my body. Do those things that make you happy. Do those things that make you healthy and whole so we can stay free. Go ahead and start putting your questions in because I'm wrapping it up. I just want to encourage us to learn something from another culture. Learn something from other people, because sometimes other people and cultures have tools in their arsenal to stay free from certain things so that we can basically learn and glean from those experiences. And that is something that is really phenomenal. To be honest, it's phenomenal to look at how people grew up and then they make fun of themselves and they basically laugh and make jokes about things that they've gone through. Dave Chappelle's a really good example of that. Kevin Hart's a great example of that. Like, his whole stand, Laugh Pain, was all about pain, laughing at your pain. And that built him. Did for other people. It helps us laugh at our own pain sometimes. Just be like, dang. And if it was your fault, okay, you made a mistake. Big whoop. Life goes on. You can move on. You can stay free. You can move on. Because it does. So, just laugh. Have more fun. I see your questions. So let's go. Questions. Put them in the laughter matter. What are my hobbies? What's good, Steph? I love when you ask questions. So definitely put some questions in the chat or put them in the question box. Some of my hobbies. Okay, so I'm a creative. I'm an artsy fartsy. That's what I call myself. I love the arts. I love the fine arts. I love to. I can salsa dance. I actually have some high school photos that I pulled out the other day. I have to show y'all. Y'all gonna be cracking up. I have. I was a part of a group in my school called Los Salseros. My Spanish teacher how salsa dance, and so ever since then, like, I've been bit by the bug. Like, I swear, when COVID goes away, like, that was like my plan, y'all. I was like, yeah, I'm about to go out dancing. So mark my words, this summer, if you know a place where we can dance that is COVID safe, please let me know, because the sis is trying out there, trying to dance. I love to dance. I used to teach hip hop and stuff like that, so I'm really getting back into that. When I want to have fun and release some endorphins, I dance. Like, I just do. Like, I do Zumba and all that kind of fun stuff. I was gonna say I like reading, but I don't like reading so much recently. Not so much recently. I like videos and stuff like that, like watching TV and different things like that. Like, documentaries actually are fun to me. What are some of my other hobbies? I love rehab stuff, like decorating, rehabbing stuff in my house. I love those quirky videos about like dollar store DIYs. Like, I'm so into that kind of stuff. I'm a Pinterest nut. I stay on Pinterest, like, always. I'm always on Pinterest. So any other questions? Those are my hobbies. Those are the things that I do to laugh. And recently, my recent thing that I'm gonna slow down on is on TikTok cracking up. Like, that's what I be doing at 10 o'clock. You can find me on TikTok laughing. What else is happening? What's going on? Just showing love and checking in. That's my cousin, y'all. Hey, cuz. What's going on? We talking about why does laughter matter? And my sister was saying this earlier, but my cousin can attest. Like, we are a funny family. Like, we love to laugh. We think stuff is funny all the time. Sometimes at the expense of each other, but we love each other thoroughly. Oh, growing up was rough though. Like, we used to just rag on each other. Up north, people call it the dozens. What's the Gen Z calls it something else. What y'all call it? Some of my teens get on here because I hang out with teens at my youth group. I forget what they call it. It's not called the dozens anymore. It's called something else. What else has happened? Comments. There's a space for it. I see you guys in here. And right now, any question goes. So any question you need answered, how to stay free, any question for me that could possibly help somebody else, everything's a go right now. So go ahead and put some questions in the question box. So I hope you all received something from it. I hope you got from it. Next week, we're actually going to talk about legacy. And so while you all are putting your questions in there, because I feel them brewing more and I feel them coming, go ahead and put the questions in there. And tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, if you click the link in my bio, I'm doing a thing called 21 Perspectives says yes, and the joke's on us. Absolutely. We can laugh. I'm going to put in here, the link is bio, it's perspectives. We're actually going about purpose. So in here, go ahead and put something down there if you are. But Zandre Music, go ahead and follow him. He's gonna page as well. He's on like a 21 conference, y'all. It's kind of crazy. They're like almost other day since the beginning of February have been telling their story and talking their perspectives on life. There's one about addiction, one about purpose, and what was the other? That was the other night. purpose in depression, purpose in all kinds of different things. Like, it was really, so I'm talking through divorce, be giving my perspective about God has freed me since then. I'm about 6 months out of the actualization of it, but it had been separated for a little over a year or more. I have a time, but I'm gonna put this in here to perspective. So you definitely, it's a free. All you gotta do is click in my bio so that you can get a Zoom link, or you can me and let me know, and I'll just go over to the link. Cloud will be from 8 to 9, and then we come over. Sometimes we do like a wrap up live, so if you missed it and you want to just hang out with us on live. My Stay Free shirts are still up. That link is in the and I had another one, and I got a question. Okay, this is me multitasking. There's another comment that says, thank you so much for sharing. Never viewed laughter as self-care. Such a great change in perspective. Absolutely. Welcome, Amanda Mine. Okay, what are my ways of self-care? This is a good, y'all know I love talking about self-care, right? So in a self-care journey in general, right? And I the word journey, we're going to find another word that the source is going to help me, because I think it's one of those overused words. But my different care, first and foremost, would be seriously being grounded in my faith. Like, when I'm not praying, when I'm not reading my Bible, when I'm not spending time, with God, I'm not spending that time with him, I'm like not taking care of myself. I'm looping. Like, I'm not a good person. I'm like all the different things. Like, I'm like, like all kinds of over the place, like crazy. Because for me, my faith is very real to me, and I have a relationship with God. And so it's not about religion for me. It's about having that true connection with God. And so prayer time is really important to me. Spending time with friends. I'm an extrovert, and so I have to be around people. Like, I have to talk to people. Like, I like talking on the phone with my family. Like, that's self-care for me. If I'm not talking to people, or if like people haven't heard from me in a while, they're like, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, where are you? So truly, like, if you haven't heard from me, be like, what's going on with her? Like, because I have to be around people, and that is a self-care thing for me. And so even my family was concerned about me, because when I was going through a lot, like in the past 2 years, I had joined a few different groups. Like, I had joined some single mom groups, and I was becoming more active in church, and I was getting really, really busy. And people were like, oh my gosh, you need to slow down. Like, my mom was getting on me. She was like, you need to slow down. You're going to burn out. And I was like, no, Mom, like, this is how I recharge. Like, I recharge around people. This is not weird to me. If I don't hang out with people, I'm going to be going nuts. So it was really good for me, like, to do. Other ways of self-care, the creative stuff that I told you about. Like, I love creative things. Like, every now and again I rehab stuff. I love spending time with my son. He is hilarious, and he's also an extrovert, so he's super talkative. I have a 4-year-old, and he is so funny, y'all. Like, he's at that phase. The other day, you guys might get a good kick out of this, but he's at that I want to marry you phase. And because he's so, like, headstrong, he literally was sitting on the couch watching a movie the other day, like eating popcorn, and I'm like working at desk, and he turned to me, he's like, you gonna be my wife? And I was like, I'm sorry, what? He was like, yeah, I'm gonna marry you. Like, he was real serious about that. And I was like, no, sir. I was like, so let me tell you how that works. Like, that can't work. He was like, yep, because when I'm 56 and you're 59, we're gonna get married. I was like, not gonna happen. And he literally argued me down. So Makai's hilarious, and we have a very good time. I am debating on whether or not to allow him to do social media things, because he thinks he knows what he's doing, y'all. He really does. He's like, when am I going to start my channel? He keeps asking me, and I'm like, I don't think so. I'm that kind of mom. Like, I'm not exactly sure yet. So those are the things I do with self-care. Like, hang out with people, do things that I like to do. That's self-care for me. Making sure that I buy myself something nice. I buy myself flowers all the time. I've been buying myself flowers since I separated, because I never got flowers. Don't cry for me, because I'm excited. Like, I always buy myself flowers. Like, I'm super happy about it. Any other questions? Tomorrow at 8 o'clock is Purpose and Divorce. So definitely click the link in my bio for that. If y'all don't got anything else, you know that I'm going to end there, right? That's going to be it. But if y'all want to hang out some more, we can do that. So I'm super excited to see you all. Glad that you are here. Introvert loves that you're extroverted. Loves your extroverted self. Thanks so much, Mooney Maj. I absolutely love it. Who is hilarious. Who so funny. You say that. Here's one of my fun stories. Who is a good friend of mine. I literally was like, one of the first things I said, I was like, you know what? You really could do stand up. Like, I just, in my head, she does stand up on the weekends. When we met, I was like, in my head, you do stand up on the week because you're funny. We all the time. So if y'all don't have anything else, this is gonna be it. I don't think I'm going to clubs tonight. I think I might do some self-care and wrap it up tonight. Might watch some stand up, might not, I don't know. But I hope to see you all tomorrow. I really, really do. It's going to be dope. I don't know when the replay of that conference out. So you definitely want to be there tomorrow, 8 o'clock. It's only an hour. And I'm going to speak out about my divorce for like the first time. She said, I will never. I know you will never, but in my head, it's just in another life. You guys are fun. I love you guys too. Anything else? Questions? Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. Y'all ain't got no questions. I love you guys. Don't forget to stay free. Stay free. That is the most important thing that you can do. Whatever you've been going through, know that it's not gonna last forever, that it can end and it will end, and you have to believe that it's gonna end. So I just want to do that. You're going through, take you through, that he can carry you through, and that he can't pull you through. He is a good who loves very much. All you gotta do him. It's not about relationship. And I will tell you that if it weren't for the joy of the Lord in my life, it wasn't joy that basically no one can take away from me, I don't know where I'd be. So I actually just want to encourage you all to laugh. And next week we're going to talk about legacy. If you haven't watched the previous 2 for this month, definitely do. But next week we're going to talk about legacy, and we're going to talk about how important it is for us to leave a legacy for one another, and what mark are we making on this earth, and how that drive is driving us to stay free, right? There's a drive that is coming with legacy, knowing that you're going to leave a legacy. You're leaving your imprint on someone who, you have children or not. You're leaving a mark in this world. The question is, what kind of mark are you leaving? And so we'll talk through that next week on legacy. So next Thursday at 9:30, I want to see you here in Stay Free Studio. Don't forget the last week, consciously. All right? Next time, y'all. Stay